All right, let's talk about one of the biggest questions we all face. What am I supposed to do with my life? What career is actually right for me? Well, it turns out the answer might be literally encoded in your personality in a way we've just never been able to see, until now. But to get to this huge discovery, we've got to first understand why the old ways of picking a career kind of hit a brick wall.
I mean, we've all been there, right? Staring at some list of jobs, trying to figure out which one just fits. For decades, the go-to advice has been to find your type. Are you an artist, a thinker, a helper? And then you just match that type to a job. But if it were really that easy, wouldn't we all be a lot happier at work?
For more than half a century, the main model for this has been something called Holland's RIASEC framework. It gives us 6 basic types: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. And look, it's been the standard tool for a reason. It's helpful, but it has a ceiling, a fundamental limit that has had psychologists totally stumped. And this number, this is that ceiling. For decades, whenever researchers tried to link our big, broad personality traits to our career interests, they always plateaued right about here. What this number means is that, yeah, there's a connection, but it's fuzzy, it's incomplete. It was a statistical wall that for the longest time, no one could break through. So what does this plateau really mean? It means the old models are great at describing what is happening, but not why. They can tell us that certain personalities tend to go for certain jobs, but they can't explain the most important part, why. It's like seeing a shadow on the wall, but having no idea what's actually casting it. And the researchers behind this new study, Townsend and Webb, they just put it perfectly. They basically said, look, we've just been matching broad categories. We haven't understood the psychological engine inside of us that's actually driving these interests to begin with. So the big question is, how do we finally get past this plateau? Well, we do it by going deeper, a lot deeper. We have to move from a blurry, low-res snapshot of your type to a super high-resolution map of your unique personality. And this whole new way of looking at things is called PIMS. So, the PIMS framework totally flips the script. It says your career interests aren't some fixed label you have to find and fit into. No. Instead, your interests naturally emerge, kind of like a wave forming in the ocean, from dozens of smaller, more specific personality traits all working in concert. Here's how it works. Instead of just looking at the 5 big personality dimensions, like, say, extroversion, PIMS zooms way in to the 30 specific facets that make up those big dimensions. We're talking about things like thrill-seeking, or altruism, or resilience. And PIMS says it's the unique combination, the sequence of these little traits that really explains what gets you out of bed in the morning. Just look at the difference here, side by side. The old model on the left, that's like a blurry photo. It gives you a general idea, sure, but PIMS on the right, that's like a detailed, high-resolution algorithm. It creates this rich, specific profile of your unique motivations. It's the difference between being handed a generic label and being told your own personal story. Okay, so this high-resolution approach sounds fantastic in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Well, the researchers put it to the test with over 500 university students, and honestly, the results were pretty mind-blowing. 60%. Using just those 30 detailed personality facets, the PIMS model could predict a person's main career interest with 60% accuracy. Now, you might think, well, that's not 100%, but get this. With 6 categories to choose from, just guessing at random gives you a shot of just under 17%. So going from 17 to 60, that is a massive, massive leap forward. But here's the real magic. It's not just that the model guessed right, it actually showed its work. For the first time ever, researchers could see the exact recipe of personality traits, that specific motivational sequence that leads someone to be, for example, an investigative type or a conventional type. So let's take the investigative type. Your scientists and analysts. The model found this fascinating sequence. It's a very specific blend. They tend to be more sensitive to setbacks, that's the low resilience, and they aren't super driven by group projects. But that's paired with this incredibly powerful drive for intellectual challenges. The amazing insight here is that their motivation might be this intense drive to master complex, abstract systems, maybe as a way to navigate a world that can feel a bit messy socially or emotionally. The model also found something really surprising with conventional types, the folks who do great in organized, structured jobs. You'd probably think they're just extremely cautious people, right? Nope. The model found the opposite. They're actually driven by low cautiousness, but it's balanced out by very high emotional stability. So they succeed in these structured roles not because they're afraid of making mistakes, but because they have the patience and the cool head to follow procedures calmly and correctly.
So this is all starting to make a lot of sense. But what about one of the most common career types out there? The social type. The teachers, the counselors, the nurses. I mean, surely there's a clear personality profile for people who just want to help other people, right? Wrong. And this, right here, is the biggest plot twist of the whole study. The model drew a complete blank. It could not find a single consistent personality recipe that predicted someone would be interested in social careers. But here's the crucial thing. This failure was actually the model's greatest success. It proved the entire theory behind PIMS. The social type isn't just one thing. It's a messy bucket that we've been throwing all sorts of different people into. Think about it. A quiet, nurturing caregiver is motivated by something totally different than a charismatic, influential leader. Their unique personality signals were basically canceling each other out, making it impossible to predict the category as a whole. So this huge breakthrough doesn't just tear down the old ways of thinking, it actually builds the foundation for something brand new and incredibly powerful. So what on earth does this mean for you? It means we can finally move beyond this old idea of static matching, trying to jam square pegs into square holes. We can move towards something called dynamic pathwaying. It's all about understanding your unique motivational engine and then finding all the different roads that engine is built to travel on. Imagine this, a PIMS atlas. That's the vision for the future. It's a huge, data-driven, validated database of career profiles. You put in your detailed 30-facet personality profile, and it doesn't just spit back one generic type. It gives you a personalized set of recommendations, each with a percentage match, like a Netflix algorithm, but for your entire professional life. Here's what that would actually look like. Your personal profile, that jagged line you see in panel A, gets compared by an algorithm against the real-world profiles of people who are successful in hundreds of different jobs. And you might find out you're a 94% match for a research scientist, an 87% match for a data architect, and a 79% for a UX strategist. 3 potential pathways you might never have even thought of based on a simple old type. And this is the whole journey, all in one shot. From the complex personality traits that are literally rooted in your brain, to the data that decodes your unique motivational sequence, all the way to a set of super personalized, data-driven career recommendations. This is about building a career that isn't just a good fit, but a true, authentic expression of exactly who you are. So we'll just leave you with this thought. The tools to really, truly understand why you're drawn to certain things are finally here. We're moving beyond vague labels and into the specific personal code of our own motivations. If you could see your own personality sequence laid out right in front of you, what hidden strengths and what surprising new paths might it reveal for you?